All right, guys, let us know if you can see us, hear us, and we'll get this started. Um, Apologies for starting later than we should have. Technical difficulties, and I apologize for my lights. They're gone wild. I don't know. My theory is that I got
They're
hacked by
awesome,
China.
awesome lights.
I can't get them under control. You know.
China is attacking us already,
Oh, for sure,
and we
sure.
have not even started.
Yep. Let me see. So everything is good. You guys can see us, hear us. Just confirm in the chat. Okay, I can see it now. We are good to go. All right. We are entering a dangerous phase. For the first time in generations, Russia is effectively dictating American foreign policy, not through strength, but through corruption, intimidation, compromise, and chaos. And the fact that this can even be said out loud should alarm everyone. The new US national security strategy is being sold as America First. But when you read the fine print, it looks a lot more like Russia First, or at best, America alone. While Ukraine is being drone hunted, bombed, and bled, Washington is flirting with deals, off ramps, and pragmatism with Russia, a hostile state that is actively working to dismantle the Western order. This strategy doesn't aim its harshest language at Moscow or Beijing. It turns its fire on Europe, warning of civilizational erasure, attacking NATO expansion, and openly talking about boosting patriotic parties. That sound a lot like the far right movements Russia has been funding for years. That's not a coincidence either. None of this is. That is the Putinization of American foreign policy. Because at the same time, Elon Musk declaring war on the EU over free speech regulation, not because Brussels is authoritarian, but because European rules get in the way of algorithmic chaos, disinformation, and the radicalization that Russia and other regimes feed on. All of this, the doctrine, the attacks on the EU, the pressure on Ukraine to be realistic and to capitulate, the rise of populists screaming about globalists, all of it is pushing us towards the same destination, away from a rules based world and into a multipolar world where it's lawless, where force is rewarded, borders are negotiable, and smaller nations only survive if an empire allows it. And in the middle of that collapse, there is only one country actually holding the line for everyone else: Ukraine. Today, we're going to break it all down and connect the dots how this new national security strategy turns America from defender of the world order into wrecking ball for it. This is Kremlin's wet dream turned reality. So, what does it mean for Europe, for Ukraine, and for the future of the free world? Welcome to SlavaCast. I'm Slavi. This is Johnny. Thank you to everyone for joining us live. Or if you're watching this stream later, thank you. And if you're watching us for the first time, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channels at Yarchenko and at Young Ukrainians. And help us speak truth to power by liking, sharing, and commenting. All right, let's jump in. Johnny, you want us lead into the U.S. national security strategy document?
Definitely. We have an NSS National Security document. Uh, Basically, it's a strategy for Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, for our country, United States. It's got two parts. It's got internal policy, and it's got like foreign policy. Um, the reason I wanted to talk about is foreign policy, but both parts are scary. And I'll just touch on the internal policy. Basically, they call about what's called a civilizational realism and hard sovereignty, um, and they say that American Republic, which is United States, is under siege, not just from foreign adversaries, but also from internal subversion. So we have a crisis of cultural identity, and we have to fight it, and it's very hard to fight because of bureaucracy. So the language that they're using is kind of very authoritarian, very Third Reich like. So all our institutions, everything we have, it's not going to allow Trump to fight and protect uh, United States citizens from a so-called ideological infiltration, the psychological warfare against the US population. So basically, we need to reshape the federal bureaucracy. And what that means, uh, Trump knows, and I know, I can tell you. I think Trump is very predictable. Um, we should know that Trump did not write this. Trump did not even read this. Trump never read anything in his life. He never read a book, and I'm sure he doesn't have enough patience to read through this document. It's 29 pages. That's about 28 more than Trump can handle, probably. Um, so basically, in internal, like within the United States, you guys should be aware that there has been institutional capture. So some of our institutions have been captured by people who Trump doesn't like. And they're using mechanisms of strategic psychological warfare. So let's say if you don't like anything that Trump is doing, you're a victim of strategic psychological warfare. Like if you don't like fascism, if you don't like Trump grabbing power, making deals with Russia behind your back, understand that you are a victim of strategic psychological warfare. Trump is going to fight it. All he has to do is free our institutions from these ideological infiltrations, and he can protect you eventually. Does that sound scary? That scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. It is so scary. Um, and then it gets much worse. Um, it does get much worse because our biggest problem right now is Russia. Russia is not uh, doing anything alone. Russia cannot do anything alone because Russia ran out of weapons. Russia is running out of people. Russia ran out of money. Russia is heavily supported by China in the form of everything that China is providing for Russia. Iran
I'd
is
go as
provide
far as calling it a vassal state of China, actually, at this
pretty
point.
much. I mean, their ideological and strategical aims are aligned at the moment. Chinese, they hate Russians as much as they hate Americans. But right now, they're using each other to get what they want. To a certain extent, very successfully. To have this document released by Trump administration right now, um, it's written by Russia. I have deja vu. We had a 28 piece plan just recently with like Russian wording with awkward translations. I am so confident if people just analyze this document, they will realize that there's like Russian wording. I'm so confident in this. I've never been confident in anything in my life. And it starts out like, you know, looks very nice. National Security Strategy, United States of America, November 2025, the White House. It starts out like a piece of like North Korea propaganda. Um, I mean, we live in the United States. We know what's going on here, but we have to believe what Trump supposedly written here. After 4 years of weakness, extremism, and deadly failures, my administration has moved with urgency and historic speed to restore American strength at home and abroad and bring peace and stability to our world. I think he's referring to the 50 wars he ended, 50 world conflicts or something. No administration in history has achieved so dramatic a turnaround in so short a time. Like, we live in North Korea right now. Starting on my first day in office, this is where he promised to end the war in Ukraine. We restored the sovereign borders of the United States and deployed the US military to stop the invasion of our country, something that's unconstitutional and was completely not needed. Um, and then he goes into radical gender ideology. Of course, as long as we're focused on radical gender ideology, we're not going to be focused on billionaires who are robbing us and making deals with Russia at the expense of American people and American public. So that's just the start. That's the first page, and that's signature of Donald Trump without a pen. Donald Trump signs
But
almost
wait,
everything with.
is it an auto pen though?
It's out of pen. Donald Trump signs almost everything with out of pen. That's why he knows about out of pen. Um, every time when you guys hear Trump saying something about Biden signing anything with out of pen, you should realize that Donald Trump signs 90% of everything he signs with out of pen. Um, and like I said, it gets worse because we have to get into the um, foreign policy. And this is just crazy. Basically, everything that the United States has been standing for since World War II, the over 500,000 troops that the United States lost in Europe, uh, defeating Nazi regime, all that is behind us. We don't have to do anything about that. We are not that country anymore. We actually don't care. Like, he basically, let's just go point by point. Uh,
Do you want to put up the documents up or?
yeah, we can do that. So basically, just one second. Um, the first giveaway that it's been written by Russia, the document contains a clause on containing the NATO expansion. Here's a list of contents, 29 pages. Um, so basically, the clause on containing NATO expansion, that's all Russia has been talking about for the past, I don't know, 60 years. You have to remember that NATO is United States. We're talking about ourselves having less power. NATO is United States. It's our organization. It's the organization that we built on the blood of our heroes who died in World War II, so we can contain Russia in case, or China, or whoever else, in case they want to attack us again, start another world war. So that's why Russia doesn't like that, because they cannot attack any NATO countries, because it's hard. It's hard. They cannot win against a non-NATO country. Look how much they're struggling in Ukraine. So if Ukraine joins NATO, it's game over for Russia. It's the end of their war. That's why in every peace plan Russia is proposing, Ukraine cannot join NATO. So, and anytime when they refer to war between Ukraine and Russia. They call it the Ukraine war. Like Ukraine is just fighting by itself. They never mentioned Russian aggression. Um, so this is a guiding document for the Department of Defense. So this is what we are now as a country. So each president brings something like this. So we had a Biden-Harris document of a similar nature, which correctly outlined the threats that we're facing. Um, Over here, everything is different. Um, for example, um, so parts related to Russia. Russia is mentioned only 10 times, which is the lowest amount of times in since Russia existed, basically, since 1993. Russia as a let's say, independent state existed since 1991, same as Ukraine. Um, and it's only mentioned 10 times, every time in a positive state, never anything negative about Russia. Um, um, and basically, the absence of Russia looks odd because Russia is obviously the biggest like destabilizing agent in the world right now. They started a huge bloody war in the middle of Europe. They're organized coalition with China, Iran, and North Korea, all of the countries that hate United States, that vow to destroy United States. We know Iran sent assassins to kill United States citizens on United States soil. We know China is an authoritarian country that likes to do thought police, that does genocide of Uyghurs on its territory. Russia, like we know what Russia is doing. Um, so it makes it look like Trump just wants to talk positively about Russia no matter what. Uh, he loves Russia. He loves Putin, and he wants. So in this NSS document, um, basically he's short of saying that Russia is great, Putin is great, and Russia is our ally. They're not going to do it in this document, but this is a preparation to start doing it next year, right? So in a year, if we get this next version of NSS, I promise you, it's gonna say that we've come a long way. Russia is ready to be a part of world, whatever peace. We can split the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever. Um, and nothing about the war crimes that Russia is doing, and nothing about the people they're killing. Why would you include that in a national security strategy? Russia is not even mentioned as an adversary, and that's the first time since 2010, at the height of Obama reset policy with Dmitry Medvedev. So Russia had Putin as a president since 1999, and because of the Russian constitution, which Russia loosely interprets as something you have to follow, they put in like a puppet president, Dmitry Medvedev, for 4 years to shift things around. But everybody knew that Putin was still in power. So during that time, Obama was trying to reset the policy with Russia. And because Obama was trying to be friends with Russia, Russians hate Obama. Russians never forgive you when you're trying to be its friend. Russia will always punish you for being friends with them. Just remember that they hate weakness. Russians hate weakness. And they started putting, at the height of like reset with Obama and being friends with the United States and Russia, Russians put stickers on their cars that Obama is a piece of shit, basically. All of the Russian cars, like, imagine this, you're trying to be friends with Russia. You're saying, we're going to reset our relationship. We're going to be, and they see it as a weakness. They don't want you to be friends with them. I don't know if I can find, Slavi, you've seen those cars, all over Russia. Obama Chmo, right? Maybe I can show it. Uh,
I'm sorry,
let's see
which
here.
cars?
You know how Russians they put stickers on their piece of shit cars, saying that
I've
Obama is a
actually
piece of shit.
I've never actually been to once I've been to Russia, to St. Petersburg, long time ago when I was little.
I've never been to Russia, but we can show this a little bit. Can you guys see? This is basically Russia. This is their
Oh,
piece of shit cars that they're
it's like it's Zhiguli, Lada.
Lada. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a cheap car for. I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you're a poor country, you cannot afford better cars. That's fine. So this is look at this. Look at these cars. If you don't speak Russian, it says Obama Chmo. Basically, Obama is a piece of shit. This is what every car had at that time when Obama was trying to make friends with Russia. Russia never forgives you being friendly with it. If they really need you at this time, right now, they will smile, they will sign all the documents, but they see it as a weakness. You will pay for this. This is another car. I don't know why I clicked on that, but they basically say we want to go back to USSR. Um, Putin, Russians love Putin. They love their president. Yeah, so basically, um, and this going back to right now, that was the only time when Russia was mentioned less times in a national security strategy document. Um, uh, when every Russian said that American president is a piece of shit. Um, so what do we have else going on? So yeah, I mean, Trump administration is immovably pro-Russian. Um, the flexible realism that they invented, it basically a policy. So the way it describes, it's called flexible real. This is really scary and interesting at the same time. So a lot of people are not going to know what is flexible realism, right? But they go into explaining. US policy will be realistic about what is possible with and desirable in dealings with other nations. We seek good relationships and good commercial methods with other nations without imposing on them, right? So far, so good, right? Democratic or other social change that differs widely from their traditions or histories, we will not impose. So basically, if you're dealing with a country that's not democratic, that is traditionally different from us, right? We used to say, listen, we value democracy before. We don't want you to do genocide. We don't want you to do anything that is not aligned with our values. Right now, we're stepping away from that. We're not going to be this symbol of democracy in the world. We're going to go with flexible realism where we're gonna allow countries that Trump is gonna make money from. We're gonna allow them to do whatever they want without us imposing on their traditions and histories. So let's say if Russia wants to do genocide in Ukraine, that's history and tradition. If Russia wants to attack United States in cyberspace, Trump already said it. He said that's what they always do. It's historically accurate for Russia. Nothing we can do about that. If China wants to ethnically cleanse its Muslim population, that's fine as long as corrupt Trump family gets good deals out of this. Um, so basically, um, if North Korea can treat their women however they want, I mean, North Korea is not mentioned in this document as far as I can tell. But we're only this is only first version of this document. I'm pretty sure next year we're gonna have North Korea mentioned in here, and like they're good people. Um, so basically, um, So the document actually says that we recognize and affirm that there is nothing inconsistent or hypocritical in acting according to such realistic assessment or maintaining a good relationship with countries whose government systems and societies are different from ours, right? On the surface, it's good, it's okay. But what it means is Trump is not going to criticize Russia anymore. He's not going to criticize China. He's not going to criticize anyone who is different as long as we're not we, but he is making money. Um, so that means we like dictatorship, right? Dictatorships. Like if it's what flexible realism. If the country is a dictatorship, we're not gonna say, "Hey, listen." At least we used to say it, right? We wouldn't go to war with every dictatorship in the world, but we would say, "Listen, we don't think that dictatorship is a good idea." We would say that. Even saying that, I think it's a step in the right direction, but we're not even gonna say that anymore. And who do you think is the main enemy of United States according to this document? It's Europe. Yeah, Europe is just the worst. I mean, there's nothing worse than Europe. It's not China, it's not North Korea, it's not Russia, it's Europe. Europe. So we have to cultivate resistance to Europe's current trajectory within European nations. Um, so basically, we're not going to intervene in authoritarian countries or dictatorship because that's flexible realism, but we're gonna interfere with the horrible Europe. They are the problem right now. So we respect the traditions and the forms of government of like China, Iran, whatever. Um, uh, Another like really kind of, this is written by Russia right here. It says here, a large European majority wants peace, and its minority governments in the European Union, stopping peace from happening. This, how many times has this been said on Russian television, Slavi? It's like like a daily occurrence, right?
Yep.
I actually let me see if I can pull it up because I've been kind of trying to get ready for this stream, but this is all Russia is talking about. Um, let's try this one. So this is first channel of Russia. It should be banned everywhere in the world, but we can still access it. So it says European Union is doing everything to stop peaceful conclusion in Ukraine. So Europe is the reason why the war is happening. It's not Russia that's attacking Europe and Ukraine. It's Europe itself, and that's what this is. Basically, you have to understand this is first channel of Russia. This everything is comes directly from Putin, from Putin's apparatus. Not one word is different from what Putin will. And then all the other channels in Russia they take from this channel and they repeat it, and that's how Russian information space is cultivated. So we can see here, you guys cannot read Russian. I can, Slavic can. That's why we're bringing this to you. But you can read the United Security Strategy, and it's the same thing. That's what's freaking scary. Um, so basically, another Russian point that uh, if only Europe would stop sending aid to Ukraine, um, that would stop Russian aggression, right? Um, because I mean, yeah, that's what Russia is waiting for. Can you stop supporting Ukraine? And we're gonna go back home. We're just worried that you're sending aid to Ukraine, right? That's why we are attacking Ukraine. Like how? misplaced this text is. Of course, Europeans cannot stop aid to Ukraine, and Ukraine cannot stop fighting because it's going to be a genocide of Ukraine. It's already genocide in every part that Russia has captured so far. There's genocide. Every every part that's been liberated from Russia, and it's a lot of lands that's been liberated. There are mass graves. There are rooms full of people, children, with broken pelvises, with tore vaginas of little children, with
We should have had a little disclaimer warning there.
I'm
Some
so sorry,
trigger warning.
guys. Yeah, it's not. I mean, like it's just like reading this document makes my heart, blood boil with everything that we know that's really happening, and having this United States official doctrine repeating basically the Russian news networks. Of course, Europe has to support Ukraine because Russia is going to keep going. They're going to go to Baltics, to Moldova, to Caucasus, to Romania, Finland, parts of Poland. They already declared they want. Putin said he wants the borders of
I
1914
think the
of Russian
biggest
Empire.
declaration there is that they got United States out of the way. So now Russia is free to do whatever because United States is not the policeman of the world anymore. And that's huge. It's huge. I don't think people realize that this is uh this is the start of World War III, of the destruction of the world order as we know it for this new world where it's Russia, China, and America running it. And that's
And I
it.
want as many Americans to hear this right now as possible because this is done against American interests. And it's very misplaced with our values, with American values. Um, there has been a poll made by Reagan political Reagan National Defense Survey. It was published in New York Post. New York Post is usually very friendly to Trump, and basically this document, uh, like they asked a bunch of Americans. So 62% of Americans want Ukraine to win this war. 65% support Ukraine getting tomahawks and long range weapons. 68% of Americans support selling weapons to Ukraine, knowing they will give, selling weapons to Europe, knowing that Europe will give it to Ukraine. I mean, 68% support us having a prosperous military industrial complex, making money, bolstering our economy. Who are the other 32% is what I want to know.
There's
Like,
actually
like
more Americans now supporting Ukraine than there was in 2022 of the full scale invasion. And a lot of them are new supporters, which are Republicans. So
I
that's
love
good to
that.
hear. It's good to hear, but
Listen,
unfortunately, we're not a
yeah,
democracy anymore.
if you are a Republican, thank you for tuning in. And listen, how can you support this? It goes against your everything, like your values, your morals, everything that our country has stood for. The heroes that fell in Europe in World War II, the defeat of Adolf Hitler and Nazi, um, uh, and listen, it puts us in harm's way because Russia hates us. Russia wants United States destroyed. It puts us in harm's way. It creates the pathway for the World War III. It destroys United States dominance in the world. It makes us a regional power. That's what Russia has been trying to do forever, since Soviet Union, since even before that. Um, uh, yeah, I just don't understand that it has to be 100% of Americans. It's like it's such a
And
no-brainer.
the thing
Um,
is, and Russia put a lot of work into this and money. billions of dollars into propaganda, into brainwashing Americans. They know their target audience. They brainwashed all sides of Americans, but this was the main focus, to go to, I don't want to offend, but MAGA, but kind of
MAGA, I mean,
middle
it's true. I
Americans
mean,
that don't really
why would you
understand.
be offended if somebody calls you MAGA? You won.
No,
You
I was
have
gonna
your
say
president.
something offensive, and then I didn't. That's why I
Yeah,
paused.
we don't
I
no,
wasn't.
but honestly, like the reason Slavi didn't do it, we don't want to offend anyone. We're all in this together. We all want the best for our country, for our world. There's such a clear strategy here, such a clear way. Support Ukraine, and Russia will be defeated. Right? It's our biggest adversary. They're only smiling right now to Trump's corrupt sons and friends, billionaires who are making money, right? They think they're making money, but they're not even going to make money. And it's at the detriment of our country.
Yeah.
And
Trump
Slavi,
administration, it's not even administration, let's put it, the Trump family administration is acting right now, taking all the meetings. It's absolutely self-serving. And what's it called when a family runs a business, a family run business and it's corrupt? Oh yeah, mafia. We have a
pretty
mafia state,
much.
just like Russia.
So to give some more poll numbers, 68% of Americans approve of NATO. I mean, we are NATO. Why is it 68%? It's us, okay? We fought a bloody war. We lost Americans, 500,000 of our troops in a very, very bloody war. All of our country was working tirelessly to supply Soviet Union with what they needed on the Eastern Front, and we attacked from the Western Front. We lost so many ships, so many good men. We created NATO. It's us. How is it like 68% support us to survive? Um, so 68% of Americans approve of NATO, and this is Russian propaganda. Okay, the reason it's 68% that it's Russia. Russia hates NATO, hates United States, and they made us to repeat what they say while hating us. We're repeating what they're saying while hating us. When are we hating ourselves now? Like, how do you interpret this, right? Um, so basically, I mean, at this point, if Trump, 68% support Article 5 of NATO, where if one country is being attacked, all other countries will come to its support to aid. But right now, as long as Trump and JD Vance is in power, uh, if a NATO country is being attacked, I don't think United States is going to come to its
Well, the thing
support.
is, United States is most likely, even though there's clauses, but it will try to pull out of NATO, and that's the discourse right now, in United States. And I'm pretty sure it was Marco Rubio that put those laws in place so United States wouldn't be able to just leave NATO. But what Trump administration is doing it, and it's already, um it happened in Romania, they pulled out troops. So
Yeah,
they might
they
do
stopped
it all
communication
over
with Germany,
Europe.
pulled
Yeah.
out troops from. So we are already, as Trump administration, already pulling out of NATO. So officially, we cannot, as Slavi said, we cannot exit NATO because it's going to require a vote of Congress. We're not a dictatorship yet. We still have Congress. We have House of Representatives. We have courts. But effectively, Trump has to say, "Okay, we're going in. We're helping." Or JD Vance has to say that. They're not going to say it. We're not going to go effectively. We're not. We're out of NATO, and this document confirms it. Um, so this is the actual text promoting European greatness. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here just one second because This is kind of crazy, big time crazy. I think this is a page 22 or 23. And all these names are kind of like confusing at first. Like you're like, oh, that sounds nice. And then you read and it's insane. Just want to make sure I can see. So we have a major war in Europe right now, right? And we have something to say about that, don't we? Promoting European greatness. So basically, they're going to talk about European problems, insufficient military, economic stagnation, all Russian talking points. That's all Russia talks about. And Russia's been saying this for at least 20 years, basically. So when Putin came to power, he started saying that, we should be. He was very like liberal and democratic in the first couple of years, and he was saying, hey, we should be closer to Europe, and we should be a great European country. We should join NATO even. Uh, and then Russians kind of, they changed him because Russians are not interested in becoming Europe, and they kept changing and Putin changed, Russia changed, and instead of like raising Russian economy, they started saying how shitty every other economy is. So there are lots of like Russian bloggers who live in United States, and they report daily that United States is falling apart, how dollar is worthless, how people are struggling, how we're like just overrun with homeless people. And they say the same thing about Europe, right? And this is exactly what Russians are saying about Europe. But it's right now, it's in this document right here. So continental Europe has been losing share of global GDP, down from 25% in 1990 to 14% today. So obviously, Europe is in trouble according to this document. And by the way, I don't even know if Europe is for. Let's just check this doc. It's probably correct.
Just for flow of
Um,
things, Johnny, can you keep going with instead of doing research in real time?
that's fine. Yeah, let's just assume that it's correct. But we should realize that since 1990, we have an emergence of Chinese economy, which is huge right now. Indian economy, 1.5 billion of people, right? So of course, the from 25% in Europe is going to shrink to a certain percentage. It doesn't mean that Europeans are struggling. Um, um, but this document says that it's got regulations that undermine creativity and industriousness, right? So this has to deal. This has to be a response to a European Union regulating Elon Musk's and Peter Thiel's businesses. So basically, Europe has to give us free reign of like unregulated reign in Europe. Otherwise, Europe is in decline. So, and then after the economic decline, they are saying about the civilizational erasure. So basically, Europe is experiencing civilizational erasure. That's something that Russia talks about Europe all the time. Um, um, and hold on, I lost my place.
It was
And
a
basically,
civilizational erasure. That's what.
yeah. Um, uh, so basically, they're talking about the fact that Europe let in too many brown people. And because of that, they're in trouble. This is it's kind of worded nicely. It says migration policies are transforming the continent and creating uh, suppression of political opposition, cratering birth rates, and loss of national identities. Um, a national identity, it's you have to be white, Christian, right? But unfortunately, Europe has let in too many brown people, too many Arabs, too many Muslims, whatnot. This is like I don't know. It's like some racist bullshit, right? And by the way, this is
Also,
Donald Trump.
who is United States to be dictating uh European Union foreign policy to them? If they want to let um immigrants in, let them do it. What I thought, United States doesn't want to be the policeman of the world. So don't
Yeah.
be.
Oh
And
no,
here
no,
you
they
are
don't want to be
dictating it.
policemen of
And
the world
another
if it's
point,
yeah.
the migration, Russia fueled these migrations. They set it all up. They've been doing it for years and years. So Russia created this problem that now United States is blaming Europe on. So and Europe has been a lot of European leaders, they do knows this, that Russia fuels these problems, this chaos. It destabilizes everything. So
Unfortunately, all of this is part of it's written by Russia. We've seen this on Russian state TV. That's all they talk about. And then who are we? Like, are we like white nation? Is United States a white nation all of a sudden?
Christian
We have a lot of
nationalists, that's a whole debate. That's part of the culture wars that are happening
right,
right
right. I
now
mean,
that are also
like,
made up by Russia,
what about our
fueling
black
this.
population? What
It's like,
about
you know what
our
Russia is doing? It's like it's getting the racist out of people, and the people that have no kind of wisdom, that are narrow-minded, are, Christian nationalists. And it's kind of like they got the racist out of them through, get them to fight the culture war.
by the way, this is what Russia looks like on the front lines right now because they're running out of the good old white Russians that Trump loves so much. So they have to replace it with whatever they have. They have an influx of immigrants from Asia, from um, Africa. They are building whole villages within Russia to counter the demographic crisis that is happening, the real demographic crisis, not this made up bullshit that's in this European. Um, but of course, Trump is not going to talk about that. Nothing is happening in Russia. Russia is fine. We're not gonna what's it called? We're not gonna affect their traditional values or whatever. So they talk about that Europe has problems with free speech, and again, that is something that Russia is saying every day on their national televisions. Um,
Wait, what are they saying on their TV? That Europe has a problem with free speech?
with free speech, yes,
Russia is saying that.
Russia is saying that. Europe has problems with immigration. Here we see again, this is all Russian uh, publications. First channel, Первый канал, that's the main Russian publication. It comes directly from Kremlin, and then all the other news networks copy and paste it from here. So the first one is from this document that Donald Trump has said, immigration is killing Europe, right? Basically, it comes exactly from this document. But Donald Trump has been saying it this year. But you go back, and this is Russian publications. Migrants in Europe, a source of chaos, or is this a norm now? Another one, um, migrational crisis in Europe. That's 2025, but referring to 2015, European migrational crisis. Um, Again, first channel in 2021, that's 4 years ago. Migrational crisis in Europe is spinning its wheels or whatever they want to call it. Migration in European Union, it's unlawful and it's covered up by humanity or whatever. 2023 Russia migrational crisis is tearing the Europe apart, right? By the way, this migration crisis was done by Russia. Russia has bombed Syria. They destroyed a person, million person city Aleppo, and they basically set up a flow of people from Syria to border of Belarus, where they would attack um, the borders of Europe, and they would just storm and go into Europe and create all the chaos that Europe had to deal with, created by Russia, and then. Um, Russia is writing about this, like Europe is an idiotic place that cannot handle its own migration crisis, which Russia actually created. But now it's in this document that we're talking about today. Um, so doesn't say anything bad about Iran, um, who
Hey,
literally
John,
send assassins.
um, do you have a lot more to go to with your presentation?
Me?
Yeah,
No.
of course. No, or I think we should maybe switch it around, and maybe I can ask you questions about this, and as an expert you can tell us about it, so there's more of a conversation going on rather just a one person presentation.
Definitely,
Okay.
I'm all for it. And it's the kind of document that makes my blood boil. It's something you cannot be ready for. I'm kind of going on all these things and everything that we know about, like Russia and what they're doing and how they spreading lies. To see this in a document like this, that this is our official policy. Um, that's why I'm reacting like this. It's just it's insane to me.
John, you don't need to explain it. We need to explain to the viewers and that how this is so it's scary, it's disturbing times, it's the end of times. But
We're
let's just
basically out of it. Like Europe is on its own. Ukraine is on its own. Europe is the
I
last
think Europe
bastion.
is better off on its own. They need to stop sleepwalking. They need, they need to uh I wrote it down, but they need to stop the siesta and start, doing the tango.
Big time.
Let's put it that way.
And by the way, we should touch on what Russia loves this document. Did you hear the reaction of Dmitry
Yes.
Peskov?
Yes, there
Uh,
is well, why don't we do this? We'll get to those points. Um let's organize this a little better. Um I'll just go over the points, kind of what Johnny went over, and summarize it. So, the main changes in the strategy is that it paints Europe as a villain. The US has flipped history by casting Europe, not Russia, as the primary concern or villain in its security policy. Russia's role in it is the document adopts softer language towards Russia, not mentioning it as a threat to US interest, and seeks to reestablish strategic stability with Moscow. The priorities shift in it. The strategy prioritizes Europe's defense, focuses heavily on the Western Hemisphere, especially migration and drug cartels, and emphasizes US economic interests and America first principles globally, and also NATO's future. The US now seeks to end the perception and reality of NATO as perpetually expanding alliance. This is the point. This is what Russia has always wanted, is the destruction of NATO. And they got it. Because now United States is saying the same thing as Russia. The NATO expansion myth. So yeah,
Yeah, everything we could dream about, right? So Dmitry Peskov, he's a Russian spokesperson for Vladimir
wait,
Putin.
hold on.
So
Am I
he's.
asking you questions or are you just gonna go on with your presentation?
Oh, did you ask me a question?
No, not yet. But okay, you know what? How much do you have left for you to finish this so we
Oh
can
no, I'm just
get
riffing
this
off of
going?
what you're saying because you said that
Okay,
Russia loves this, and I'm like, yeah, that's what he's confirming. But
okay.
go
Well,
ahead if
why don't
if
we
you
do
have
this,
something else to say.
Johnny? Here, why did the Trump administration make sudden foreign policy shifts?
You know what? Here's how I'm. Here's how I'm gonna. Uh, it's not sudden. I was talking to this guy, and he says, Trump, like Putin, is very predictable, right? To you, to me, like we think Putin is very predictable because he says what he's gonna do, and he's doing it, and somehow the West is always caught off guard by Putin, right? Putin is doing the next thing, and there's like, oh, he did this. Like, how is he doing this? And I think Trump is very predictable as well. It's just like you don't want to think that this is going to happen, but he said that he's going to do this. Um, he's been friendly with Russia all this time. Um it's so consistent with everything he's done, with the way he's doing. He's sending people behind our backs to make deals with Russia, to lift sanctions, to throw Ukraine under the bus. He talks in Russian talking points from Russian newspapers. So it's kind of like it's something you don't want to see. It's something you don't want to believe that it's even happening. But when you think about it, he's very predictable. Trump is very predictable. Putin is very predictable. And because people just don't want to believe this, they don't want to see this, they're like, oh, how did we get here? you know?
Yeah. Just to add to that, well, Trump does not view foreign policy through alliances or values. He views it through transactional leverage, direct leader to leader deals, personal power, credit, and control, zero sum thinking, which is someone must be winning and losing. And yeah, in that worldview, alliances are constraints. So having all the alliances with Europe, that's actually a constraint to Trump, not assets.
Hmm. Yeah.
Rules are obstacles, laws are obstacles, not safeguards. And just we're going to come back to these points later on. But institutions slow him down and dilute authority. So the shift isn't random, as Johnny said, but it's a deliberate move away from rules based order toward deal based power politics that aligns more with authoritarian systems than democratic ones. But let's move on. Johnny, why is Europe being framed as the enemy instead of Russia or China?
For the same reason why, you know, it's so easy to make, like, listen, right now, Europe is is in the way of what Trump wants to do. He wants to make deals, he wants to make money. He doesn't want to go through proper channels. He doesn't care that people die. Uh, to him, Europe is like an extra weight that he has to hold behind, with their laws and their values and their democracy, and they don't like Russia, and he wants to deal with Russia, and that's what makes them inconvenience. It's like a thorn in his side.
Right.
That's what Europe is. um
I would say
and
also because Europe represents multilateralism, institutions, shared norms, human rights, frameworks, constraints on raw executive power. So, what we just talked about, the things that,
one country understood, one country in Europe understood Trump perfectly. It was Switzerland. Did you hear what they did? They sent a person. So Trump put a 50% tariff on Switzerland. They sent a person with a block of gold like this big, and a Swiss clock, a watch, very expensive Swiss watch, and they presented it to Trump. And the next day, the tariffs were off. I mean, we're trying to go with Trump the wrong way. We're trying to, talk about morality, talk about the right thing to do. Swiss Swiss are not bothered with that. They gave him a watch. That's like the kind of watch that Russian oligarchs give their prostitutes. He looked at the watch. He was happy as a child. He was like a 5-year-old child. He's like, oh, Swiss people love me, and they give me a block of gold. That's expensive. I mean, block of gold costs like $100,000 or something. A watch costs like $60,000, right? But the next day, the 50% tariffs were off. You know, it's cheap. I mean, there's a good way to deal with Trump. Remember where Dick was kind of joking and saying like, and he said, "I'm joking, but why don't Ukraine send some guy to White House to put gold everywhere, and Trump will help you?" And it kind of seems like that's what's working with Trump right now.
yeah. Sorry, I'm just testing something. But okay, it's working. Johnny, my question for you is, does everyone in the current administration, in the government, agree with this strategy?
In the United States government,
Yeah.
um, I hope not. I mean, it's very new. It's only 2 days. I hope there's going to be resistance to this, and also the language of how it's presented. It's kind of it's muddled up. I mean, there's no call for action anywhere, but it's not good by any means. But let's say, what are you going to do with that Europe has to regain civilizational self-confidence, right? What are you supposed to do with that? It's just, there's nothing to act on. So, but I think this is a document that's going to shape our policy right now, and we have to resist. We have to resist everything that's going to come out of it.
Yeah. So the good news is that there is resistance in that administration. Um, they have there's a huge shift in ideological ways of like even in the administration. Um, there's you have your ideological kind of hardliners, kind of like Vance. Um, they want a weaker EU, a fractured NATO, bilateral deal making, less institutional constraint, and they see the world as sphere of influence. Then you have your opportunists in there, and they don't necessarily believe in this vision, but support it to gain access, power, or favor. and they stay quiet about it. They don't do anything when they're in a position of power. And those are the most common. But right now, the pushback is coming from the traditional security professionals, from agencies like, FBI, CIA. Like, all the institutions are against this strategy. They understand the risks. They worry about long term consequences and often get sidelined, ignored, or removed. So this this is internal tension that's happening right now about this strategy. So yeah, as civilians, we have been uh, in a democratic world. We, yeah, please, let's make noise about this. Absolutely. But it does make me feel better that there's uh, institutions, government institutions, that are pushing back on this. I don't know
Yeah,
how
and
much
we have to resist. We have to push back. Um, so Trump said that he is gonna like control Western Hemisphere. Like United States is gonna control Western Hemisphere now. So basically, I don't know
Well,
how
that's what's
exactly it's
happening. That's why
divided.
we're going to war with Venezuela. Like, guys, when I connect the dots of everything that's happening, is it's according to plan. We're in the phase of going into the world destruction and going into a multipolar world where there's uh three three rules of power, which is United States, they get Latin America, South America, let's put it this way, and then Europe goes to Russia. Russia's the middle, and then you have China and all the Indo-Pacific going to China. So you
Do
have
you feel
three
like they
powers
already
in Europe.
divided the world?
Oh yeah, this it's all pre-planned, of course. And everything is going according to plan. This war with Venezuela, the charade, it was a
It's
plan
such a stupid
all
plan,
along.
though.
Or this oil that we're going in for the oil. These are all lies. But the end goal is the destruction of the free world, and these.
Like, okay, so Trump will get like deals with Russian oil companies or whatever out of this, but for United States, that's such a stupid plan. I mean, you Venezuela's oil is very low quality. It actually requires Russian naphtha supplies, which they cannot provide right now because Ukraine is burning oil refineries in Russia. So Russia kind of gave Trump, I guess, Venezuela. They say, "Oh, go for that. That's the biggest oil supply in the world," which is true, but it's not very good oil. It requires a lot to process it.
Right.
Um, and Trump doesn't know that because he's an idiot. Uh,
Well,
and
no,
he thinks,
actually, right now the war is to the goals here is to get the Earth's kind of minerals, and oil is one of them, and that's what Trump is after. That's what he got from Ukraine. That's what he now wants to get from Russia.
well, I mean, he signed the deal with Ukraine, but the deal is you have to extract the minerals and then you can get money out of that. But to extract minerals, you have to stop the war. You have to kick Russians out because most of the minerals are where Russia is currently occupying.
Yeah, but
Strangely enough,
he doesn't care for that.
he doesn't
It's
know, he
all
doesn't
about
care.
what he owns. It's never about logistics. There's never a plan. But yeah, let's go
Um,
back to um talking about, like, how does this strategy undermine the world order post 1945?
Completely. That's it. I mean, we're stepping away from everything we've been so far. Where it says that, so in this document it says that Europe should defend itself more, and they see that Europe will be leading NATO by 2027. I don't know why they put that year in there. Basically, if United States is leading NATO right now, by 2027 Europe has to lead NATO. Where is United States going to be? Fighting for oil in Venezuela? That's ridiculous. Like, why do we even need that, right? American people don't need that. That's gonna weaken us. We're just getting weaker over here because of this. Also, we have to think about the fact that Russia's main goal, Russia's main goals are several, but one of them is to destroy dollar as an international currency. They have been talking about this since forever. That's the only thing that's not mentioned in this document: the destruction of dollar as a freely convertible currency. Russia has been proposing alternatives to dollar many times. Um, and Russia said that when they said that, I was thinking they're dreaming. They said that when United States is not a global power anymore, the dollar is not going to matter. And I said, but we are a global power, right? Look at our military. But looks like we're not anymore. Trump is stepping away. America is stepping away as a global power right now. We're just going to be over here fighting with Venezuela and maybe Canada. I don't know, like Greenland. I don't know how does the Western Hemisphere, like, how does it divide? Like, which countries are we gonna attack? Japan? Like, what is
No,
what
well,
Trump wants
now
to?
there's actually conflict between a commotion between Japan and China. I was watching that in the news, but yeah. See,
Yeah,
there's all
because
this movement happening all over the world because of this. And yeah, it's not just Ukraine and Europe, it's the Indo-Pacific. It's Middle East is in there as well. But I'm no expert in Middle East, so I don't
definitely,
have
I
that
mean,
in my breakdown, but
China is a scary country, but we are not no experts on that. We just know as much as related to Ukraine and Russia and European situation and the United States. But yeah, China is a scary country, and like this is all benefiting China as well right now. Um, we know that when Elon Musk and Donald Trump destroyed USAID, China already had its version of USAID. It's like China, I don't know what it's called, but it's they already had everything ready to go. They just needed United States to pull out, and they had everything ready to go to exert that influence in those regions where there was a vacuum of presence of United States at that time. And uh, Russia created its own Rus ID. They just created this Rus ID because they understand how important it is, because China has it, United States used to have it, and Russia has. So we don't have money for USAID. We're not rich enough, but Russia, which is like they're 2% of global GDP. We're 23% of global GDP. So Russia with 2%, they have money for Rus ID. We don't have money for USAID, right?
by the way,
Um,
Russia's GDP is about the same as Italy. And here we are, United States, bending the knee to Russia's will, who's losing on the front lines. Uh, Economy is in a really dire situation. I mean, it's facing collapse. That's why Russia is doing this phase because they can through Trump. They're getting
they're
exactly what they
so
wanted because they're not getting it through Ukraine. That's not gonna happen. So they got America to do the dirty work for Russia.
they're so
It's
cocky. They're so confident. They cannot win anything. Like Ukraine actually won some territories back on the battlefield. Did you hear that? They cannot even hold the front line. They're not attacking anymore. And they're so cocky and confident because they
no,
captured the White House.
yeah, they did, and that's
They
a
destroyed the
huge
United
win.
States.
Yeah, that's a
They
huge
took us
that's
out of the picture.
it's everything that they ever wanted.
they've been working on this for decades since Soviet Union.
I mean, they're
They've
not
been
done
saying
yet.
about this.
They're not now. They have to, go after EU and NATO.
Well, think about EU right now. Putin has three countries in his back pocket. He's got Hungary, Viktor Orban, as you call him. That's so funny. They've got Slovakia and they got Czech Republic. So they're fracturing the European Union with their money. They're buying up politicians, ultra right politicians, usually
Yeah, there you go.
um, the ones. And when they're some of these politicians are saying like the Adolf Hitler was correct and there was no Holocaust and stuff like that, and then Europe has laws against saying that, and then Russia says, "Oh, Europe is attacking freedom of speech," and then same thing happens here. Like in this document, United States security strategy, the problem with free speech in Europe. They're trying to police their Nazis over there. How dare you? Russia spends so much money on these ultra right parties. How dare you? Don't let them speak whatever they want, you know. But Russia has successes in Europe as well. I mean, they cannot do anything in Ukraine for no matter what they do, and they're facing crazy crisis in within Russia. But they have three countries out of European Union in their back pocket, and right now in Germany, they also have a pro-right, like right-leaning coalition, Alternative for Deutschland or something,
Hmm.
heavily funded by Russia, also striving for power, and they can get elected soon. And then we're gonna have Nazis in the German government again, thanks to Russian money, and Donald Trump pulling us out of Europe and criticizing Europe for being uh, policing the free speech and whatnot, and letting in too many black or brown or Arab, whoever people, instead of just being a nice Christian white Nazi country or whatever. This is crazy, right?
Mm, yep. Uh, do you have any final thoughts on this document before we move on? And we will come back to this because it's all connected. But just
Uh,
any final thoughts? Any final points?
you know what? I have a quote here by Ilya Ponomarenko. He's Ukrainian journalist, a war reporter. He wrote this on December 6th, which is Armed Forces Day of Ukraine, and this is when this document was released as well. Um, and he said, "What makes my blood boil these days is the fact that the most self-sacrificing, the bravest, the most valiant people on this earth, in a critical moment in history, are just being backstabbed by the most corrupt, the most dishonest, and the most indecent in the stupidest and self-destructive way possible for nothing but petty politics and cash grab schemes because they can and because they don't care." So, this kind of summarizes everything I have to say on this.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on because that's connected to Elon Musk versus the EU free speech scandal. And so, what happened? The European Union fined Elon Musk's social media platform, X, and fined 120 million under the Digital Service Act, marking the bloc's first major penalty against a major tech firm. The fine targets X handling of deceptive blue tick verification badges, lack of transparency in political advertising, and inadequate safeguards against hate speech and misinformation. Basically, it's a huge propaganda platform that's being used to brainwash civilians, anyone who's on it. And Musk reacted furiously on X, calling the penalty crazy and insane, claiming it targets him personally and demanding the EU to be abolished to restore national sovereignty.
Did Elon Musk mention that his lovely Twitter or X is banned in Russia completely? That Facebook is banned in Russia? That YouTube is banned in Russia? That he loves so much? Because they all say that Russia is like for traditional values, and then the
Oh yeah,
evil
and
European
just
Union,
recently they blocked FaceTime, um,
Roblox,
YouTube, yeah, Roblox, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is blocked.
crazy.
Meanwhile, I mean, at the same time, Elon Musk or Trump, they never criticize Russia over free
No,
speech.
Russia is
There is
fine.
no,
And I
absolutely.
was wondering why all these like pro-Trump, pro-MAGA Russian accounts, they're based out of Russia. They're based like in Malta or Cyprus or somewhere in Africa, somewhere where Russia has its bases over there.
Yeah,
And it's
lots of
because all,
India, anywhere where there's Russia has bot farms.
yeah,
That's
and
where.
it's because all of these platforms are banned in Russia. So for Russia to properly influence Elon Musk and our politics and everything, they uh, because they banned everything. They banned YouTube is banned. Everything is banned in Russia, but they still have to pump out all these YouTubes, all this X, all these Facebook posts. So they just have all these bots based off of the Russian soil.
Mhm.
Elon Musk never mentioned that. Did you hear this? uh, this is kind of funny. Elon Musk created this community notes, and there
Mhm.
was this basically you can see geotags on all of these things, and there's a very popular Twitter or X account called Mega Voice. Basically there's like spamming like left for Trump, left for everything, and there's a community note now on that channel that this is a Russian citizen posing as a Republican party member.
Yeah, it was a few.
um,
Obviously, he took the feature down now. I think it was up for maybe a day.
he took it
But
down
it
from
definitely
all of the
exposed.
X.
Yeah, it definitely exposed. Really showed who these people are, and they're not Americans. They're
That
they're
backfired
they're trolls,
bigly.
bot farms. Yeah, absolutely. And what's dangerous with it too, the paid blue ticks that are enabling scams, hate spread, uh, political ads risking foreign influence, and insufficient hate speech removal there as well. Also, the community notes, Musk is deleting community notes. Community notes is there as a fact check system,
Yeah, a fact check
right?
system. Yeah.
Because he got rid of fact checkers. He installed this community note system where it's the people who correct it, and then through voting. I actually
And
could do community notes, but now that was kind of to put in place to to fact check basically. And since Musk is literally the person who lies the most on it, Grok checked him, Community Notes checks him, and now he starting to delete it and manipulate the platform. So he's dictating information, which is to no one's surprise. That's what he's gonna do. Control the media, control the information, and so you control people and getting them to submit to right wing populist basically movements.
we are basically right now we're aligned with China and Russia. We are thinking like them according to this document. We're not criticizing them. We're doing everything that they're going to be doing. Just we divided the spheres of influence, And I don't want this. I don't want. I like Europe. I don't like shitty Russia. I don't like China. I mean, nothing against like Chinese people or whatever. Like people are gonna think that I'm like some kind of bigot or anything like that. That's not what it's about. I'm an American. You know, I'm a Ukrainian. I like freedom. I like democracy. I like to be able to say what I support and I don't support. I want to be in a country that supports values that I value. You know, I don't want us to make deals with countries that's doing genocide, you know,
Right.
and that's what we are right now.
Can we go back to talking about the Musk news instead of how we feel about this? Because we're all angry. We all don't want this to happen, but it's
Okay,
happening.
sorry, I'm getting carried away. The Musk news, yeah, I mean, and this what you just said about Musk, that is actually reflected in this national security strategy, because immediately they said that Europe is punishing creativity and hardworking people with their uh, with their laws. Basically, it's directly related to them punishing Peter Thiel and Elon Musk for their unfair practices in Europe.
Yeah. So Musk is accusing EU of censorship and authoritarianism. It claims the fine is kind of personal vendetta against him. He alleges EU hypocrisy in targeting X while ignoring similar issues on rivals like Meta. So it's all part of the bigger picture of what's happening now. And what Europe is doing is just defending itself from propaganda. So, and it has DSA and its mechanisms. European like, created this, but it has risk assessments, which these big social media platforms must annually evaluate and mitigate systemic risks like disinformation campaigns or algorithmic amplification of propaganda. It has content removal, basically, uh, ad transparency, and yeah, and it works. So EU is not that's not censorship. That's having proper, um, say, very healthy laws to fight back on propaganda. And of course, Elon Musk hates that because he can't propagate. He through this he's gonna lose a lot of money, which is like who cares, uh for not being able to operate, for not being able to spread lies in Europe. And I think this is fantastic. Europe should be fighting back. You're doing the right thing here.
And I think we should do some version of that over here, because Elon Musk is his platform is just ravaged by Russian bots from all over the world. Where Russia has bot farms, they're all just running amok on X platform. A lot of people over here in this country, they are exposed to this, and that's why a lot of us, they don't like NATO. They don't like Europe for some reason. I mean, and we are under exposed to what China and Russia are doing.
Yeah. Well, let's do a little fact check here, since Musk thinks or is trying to spin this that Europe is the one with censorship. Europe is the one that's blocking free speech. Oh no, but the top European countries for free speech are actually in Europe. Norway is number one, Denmark two, Sweden, Netherlands, Finland. You want to know where US ranks for free speech? 57th. We're 57th. The hypocrisy is insane. And yeah, the US is in absolutely no position to dictate to EU free speech regulations. It's ridiculous.
And it's such, it's such a hard topic right now because uh, uh, there's war going on, right? And Russia is spreading so much misinformation, and not just Russia, China, uh, maybe some other countries as well. And a lot of interactions that you're having online, they're not even with real people. Um, a lot of things that are making it, they're harmful. They're harming. You get people elected based on harmful fake narratives. Um, and it's done by people who want to destroy you. It's done by Russia in this case, um, and you have to protect yourself. You have to fight back with regulations, like what Maya Sandu did in Moldova. She had to pull everything together. They had to silence certain things, including there was, I think, a newspaper who was just spreading like Russian propaganda daily, and they had to sanction it and silence it. It was because the country was under attack, literally under attack, and as a result, they got their coalition into power with 24%. They did not win the number one spot in Moldova, but it's thanks to those practices that Maya Sandu did, because she went all out and she protected her country. But what Russia is stepping in and doing, saying, "Oh, they're policing free speech. They're not allowing us to say whatever we want." But it's a very, and every country has to do some version of this for its own protection, including us.
Yep. I'm just looking if we have any questions in the chat. And if you have any questions for us, just put them in the chat and hopefully I'll get them. The mods will let me know if there's any good questions. But looking through it right now, it doesn't look like we have questions. Let me check
People are
Discord.
upset. um, I don't want to live in this version of this country.
We
I
know,
escaped.
Johnny. You told us that many, many times already.
I
I don't think
escaped
nobody wants this.
Soviet Union. I I watch Russia becoming another dictatorship. I feel bad for people living there. I don't want to be one of these people right now. We have to fight. We have to resist this.
All right. Yeah, definitely. I agree. But let's paint the picture of maybe of how that world can look like, this multipolar world. But let's just go over of all the things connecting us to get to this point and where it looks like we think that civilization is going towards. So yeah, all this is that it's happening. It's not random, and everything is lining up. What we've been watching right now is it's not chaos; it's convergence. American foreign policy suddenly reframes Europe as the enemy. Ukraine is pressured to capitulate, and Trump administration attacks NATO, the EU, all of the democratic institutions. And in parallel, you have Elon Musk wages war on European regulation and free speech laws, not because he believes in freedom, but because regulation stops him from weaponizing chaos. So, yeah, all of this is not separate stories. They are symptoms of the same transformation. Then what's happening now is Putinization of America. Putin doesn't conquer states only with tanks, he erodes them from the inside. He turns societies against institutions. He frames allies as enemies. He funds extremists on both far right and far left. He floods the information space with lies, grievance, and humiliation. He convinces people that truth is possible, so power is all that's left. This is what we are now watching inside the United States. America is beginning to speak the language of the Kremlin. Institutions are illegitimate. Allies are parasites. Law is weakness. Deal making replaces principle and morals, and power replaces morality. That is not American tradition. None of it is. That is Russian political culture. So, Elon Musk, this is not about personality, it's about function. Musk isn't attacking the EU because he loves free speech. He's attacking it because EU regulation stops algorithmic radicalization, foreign interference, and extremist amplification. The EU understands something the US is now forgetting. Speech without guardrails in the age of information warfare is a weapon. So when Musk endorses extremist parties like AfD in Germany, a party openly amplified and supported by Russian information operations, and tells Germans to move past the World War II guilt, he's dialing into Moscow's narrative as well, because historical guilt, memory, accountability, these are the barriers to authoritarianism. Erase them, and the empire becomes imaginable again. So then we have ideological war going on, the false war. This isn't a battle between elites versus people or globalists versus patriots. That framing is complete and utter propaganda. Personally, whenever I see or hear someone say globalists, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I run for the hills. I suggest you do the same. The real divide is rules versus power, law versus force, and memory versus myth. Russia funds and boosts any movement, left or right, that fractures societies and weakens institutions. Every road leads back to Moscow, not because Russia is strong, but because it is weak and desperate. It's acting out of desperation. Because Russia is collapsing demographically, economically, culturally, and politically. It has no future inside a stable rule-based world. So it must destroy the system it cannot survive in. That's why Russia lives in a permanent war. War justifies repression. War excuses poverty. War replaces legitimacy. War gives purpose to failure. Peace is not Russia's goal, never was. Peace is a threat. That's why every peace deal, negotiation, or off ramp is just noise. It's time to regroup, rearm, reframe, and then strike again. So, just to draw parallels that were similar, now United States is similar to Russia. There was a news yesterday actually that ICE had a detainee, and defi- um, they denied access to this detainee to life. So he needed insulin basically, or he dies. And ICE withheld critical medicine until this man had to submit and sign a document saying that he would go back to his country of origin. They forced him to to basically under duress. And you know who that's similar to? Russia. Russia does this to people, to Ukrainians in occupied territories. Uh, when when women are giving birth, they make them this is so crazy. They make them get their Russian passport. When while giving birth, if the woman needs an emergency C-section, then she can only get it if they sign that their Russian like identity away and they become Russian passport while they're screaming in agony. They're told that cooperation is the only way that they or the baby or both of them survive. And all of this, it's systematic. It weaponizes desperation, uses pain as policy, and it turns survival and life itself into a bargaining chip. Because when democratic states begin to tolerate or replace, sorry, replicate coercive survival based compliance, they're no longer just failing the moral test. They are crossing into authoritarian logic. It looks like paperwork, delays, process, discretion, quiet threats as critical moments. But yeah, say goodbye to. Sorry, I screwed up my screen.
You're good.
Yeah, say goodbye to the idea that basic human rights are guaranteed. Here in Russia and now here in United States. Civilian suffering. Sorry, let me. So now we're at a time where security becomes transactional, sold to the highest bidder or granted only in exchange for obedience. Civilian suffering is no longer a scandal, it's becoming background noise. And over time, what was once a scandal becomes administrative routine. That is how norms collapse, not with a bang, but with a form and pressure. I'd like to. Okay, let me share my screen. I promise I'm almost done. Hmm. Okay, you guys can see it. Russia is a prison of nations. The Black Hundred, this is a quote from a Ukrainian Bolshevik deputy in the Russian Duma. Russia is a prison of nations. The Black Hundred Russian chauvinist activists and their lackeys call Russia a great Slavic state, perhaps only because in the great state, the greatest oppression of Slavic peoples is observed. In the Yekaterinoslav province, 7 out of 10 of the population is not more are Ukrainians, whom the official language calls Little Russians. The Ukrainian people suffer endless oppression from the authorities. In Russia, only 43 of the population are 43% of the population are Russian, which means less than half. The majority of the population in Russia has no rights and no opportunity to speak their native language and feels endless violence and oppression. That is the Russian world right now. Did you guys see the quote on the screen or did it go away?
Yeah,
Oh, you
it's
saw it?
not here right now, but I saw it when you put it up.
Oh, okay. Well, let me put something else. Another image up. This is actually quite really cool that it's happening today. Um, Today, on this day, the USSR, the prison of nations, collapsed 34 years ago. On December 8th, 1991, at the Voskuli residence, the leaders of Ukraine, Belarus, Russia signed the Belarus was it the Belarus Accords, which legally confirmed the dissolution of Soviet Union. So guys, this
Belovezhskaya. It's a
I
very
can't say
hard
that.
word.
Um this is actually it makes sense why this I don't think it's a coincidence, but it's great inspiration that it's been done before and we can do it again, right?
uh, Russia is under collapsed Soviet Union, basically. So Russia goes through these cycles where they're like the last, maybe not the last, but one of the last empires still existing in the world. And if they don't conquer land, if they don't feed their people propaganda about greatness, they collapse. As Slavi said, it's not a unified people or anything like that. It's a bunch of different states held together by the idea of greatness, of evil West, evil United States, and resistance, to evil European ideals, to collapsing European economy, evil dollar, by the way. Uh, we just have to get to this next stage where Russia collapses again. It's time to release these nations that are held as prisoners within Russia, release them to be free countries, like Chechnya was trying to do, but Russia did a genocide of them, like other are trying to do, but Russia is not letting them free. You know, Russia will collapse. We
Yeah.
have to support Ukraine, and Russia will be defeated.
Well, let's paint the picture of what happens if Ukraine falls. What does that look like? What does that world look like? And since Russia has always been a thief of history, prison of nations, a destroyer of culture, and eraser of language, Ukraine exists as a threat to Russian empire because Ukrainian culture, language, and history prove Russia's lies false. That's why genocide is backed into the project, not because of hatred, but because truth is existentially dangerous to empire. So, if Ukraine falls, what does this multipolar world actually look like? People hear multipolar world and think maybe it's diversity, balance, independence. All of that is a lie. In practice, a multipolar world means two or three dominant power centers, smaller states have no sovereignty, security becomes transactional, rights exist only when power allows them. Peace is temporary, local, and very fragile. What disappears? Universal human rights, accountability, international law, and moral red lines. Civilian suffering stops being a scandal, it becomes just background noise. Healthcare becomes leverage. Food becomes pressure. Migration becomes a weapon. And coercion becomes normal. So, Why does America now sound like Russia? Because when you normalize this coercion, transactional mercy, enforced submission, you begin to mirror authoritarian systems. The ICE insulin case that I told you about matters because it shows how fast norms collapse. Withholding life saving medicine until compliance is extracted is a classic Russian occupation tactic. Russia does this to Ukrainians in occupied territories, to mothers in labor, to the sick, to the desperate. And the message is simple: survive or submit. That is not a distant future. That logic is already appearing. And once normalized, it spreads. And this isn't a 20-year decline. This is acceleration, what's happening now. That's why passivity right now is no longer neutral. Later, there will be no choice left for us. I'm talking about us as a society. So, right now, the only people fighting for the world order, international law, democratic norms, and the idea that small nations have the right to exist are Ukrainians. They're holding the line for everyone else. So, yeah, that's my kind of summary of this multipolar world. And these are very scary times, but we have to keep believing that truth will prevail, that justice, if there's any justice left in this world, um it will win, obviously, for Ukraine. But we have to help Ukraine. We have to fight for the truth and speak truth to power.
The last island of democracy, of human rights, of values is Europe right now, and with Ukraine holding the front. Basically, that's
Well, it's not
it's
just Europe.
really narrowed down.
Canada, actually, Canada is joining, and Australia and New Zealand. A lot of European kind of union, um, like, deals that they're making, and so it's not just Europe. There's Canada. Canada is great nation, and
Basically, like
have their head on straight,
NATO
basically.
countries. Wouldn't you say that all the NATO countries are
Well,
basically that?
Australia, no, Australia and New Zealand are NATO.
Australia is not NATO. Oh yeah. Oh well, Australia,
Basically, the civilized world, let's put it this way.
civilized world. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, can we talk about collective security treaty organization?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
while Russia is telling people that NATO is evil thing, uh, Russia is part of a. Russia created its own NATO basically with Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and this is like the version of the world that Russia wants to have, and what United States is becoming as well. Um, when we say that the a multipolar world, look how Russia is speaking to the members of Collective Security Treaty Organization. It's like it's there's no equality there. There's only one voice, which is Russian, and all the other countries are kind of um, like employees. They're asking permission. They can be attacked if Russia decides you're not doing enough. Like Armenia, Armenia had an election where they overturned. Russia was heavily influencing that election, but Armenians overturned that election and elected Pashinyan, which Russia considers not their preferred guy. They staged the attack by Azerbaijan on Armenia. They made deals behind the closed doors, and they to teach Armenia a lesson. That's what unions with Russia will cost you. Armenia lost some territory back then, lost a lot of people, and Russia did not come to aid. um,
Yeah. Are
so
you
yeah, the
surprised? I mean, any deal with Russia, it's never gonna go through. Never. It's just Russia always lies to get what it wants. Never. I don't know why it's taking this long for nations to know that whatever deal you it's like making a deal with the devil, basically.
gosh, crappy devil that steals toilets. I mean, I have
Mm.
better opinion
No,
of a
okay,
devil
not the
than
devil. Let's call Russia the demon. They're act like a
yeah.
demon, not devil. They're not refined enough. All right. Time is it? 4. Do you have more points you want to make, or should we close out?
I said most of what I wanted to say. Yeah, Europe is on its own. Ukraine is on its own. We have to fight right here. We have to resist Trump. I'm not okay with this. I'm not taking this version of United States for granted. I'm not gonna silently accept this thing, and we all have to stand united. It's against our interests, and we have to tell Trump what we think and resist.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Russia, China, and United States are methodically dismantling the world order that kept great power war in check. They want a world where borders are meaningless, force is rewarded, and smaller nations exist only at the mercy of empires. And here's the part people in the West still refuse to accept. Russia already chose war. Not just tanks and troops, but a hybrid war, economic war, information war, cyber war, and terror through drones, missiles, sabotage, and intimidation. This war does not ask for your ideology. It doesn't care if you're anti-war. It doesn't care if you sympathize with Russia and despise Ukraine. A missile doesn't ask who you voted for. If you're right, left, or purple, a drone doesn't check whether you wanted to fight. Hybrid war doesn't spare collaborators or useful idiots. Let's get that point. So, and it will get worse. More costs, more chaos, more anger, and more tragedy, more loss. That is the nature of this kind of evil. It will never go away on its own. It does not negotiate in good faith, as we said previously. It does not stop unless it is stopped. Ukraine understands this. That's why it keeps fighting, not because it wants war, but because it knows exactly what happens when Russia chooses one. The real question is no longer whether Ukraine can endure, it's whether the West can remember once again what it means to defend itself, or whether it will confuse surrender for stability until reality corrects the illusion. So, what can you do? Support Ukraine relentlessly, share the truth loudly, pressure representatives and elected officials, and call your senators, please. Tell them how much you support Ukraine and don't support this uh, new strategy, foreign policy strategy. Reject false neutrality, defend institutions, and refuse silence. And yeah, you can also like, subscribe, and share to the channels we're streaming on, channel Yurchenko and Young Ukrainians. And I'd like to thank the mods that showed up. And we have new mods as well. Um, we'll do a little welcome segment next time. But welcome, happy to have you guys on the team. And 2026 is going to be a huge year. look where we're at right now. So we definitely need your help speaking truth to power. And when we have algorithms that are working against us as well. So we need your help, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the viewers, the defenders of truth. Thank you for supporting Channel Yurchenko and Young Ukrainians, because we are not watching history anymore. We are inside it. And this moment will remember who stood and who looked away. And let's remember who we are, our values, and what we stand for, and be fierce with it. Be brave like Ukraine. So, on that note, Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Bye, guys. End stream. Did you finish the stream?